Hello, I'm Charles Pallaghy, a retired lecturer in biological sciences. Now, I've always been interested in anything that runs on a track because it can't deviate from its destination. And early in my Christian experience, while I was at university, God gave me a dream that I was waiting for a tram car, and when it came, I boarded, and the conductor, who had tickets of all colours, asked me, well, how far do you want to go? And I said, well, I want to go all the way. And he said, well, that's going to cost you. And I believe that was God speaking to me, that my Christianity on campus as a Bible-believing scientist is going to cost me. And it did cost me for 28 years, especially the first 15 years when I made myself openly known as a creationist. It cost me, and it was nightmarish, because the university and my colleagues were after my early resignation simply because of my faith. Sir Rutherford Robertson, who was a close friend of mine, rebuked me for believing in the Bible and wouldn't speak to me again, and that was the norm for the next 28 years. Certainly the first 15 years, the response on campus was so horrific that it was like living in a nightmare.
How so?
Well, for example, the professor would come along and shout into my office so that everybody in the corridor could hear that I'm going to fight you and your God to the death. Because I'd asked him, about the fossil which he displayed on his desk, and I asked him, how do you know that that fossil is 3 million years old? And he just went livid, because I had information on radiometric dating that he didn't want to hear about.
And what are some of the other ways that they gave you flack?
Oh, well, somebody behind my back told my technical assistant that not to cooperate with me, and I would have to run after him in the corridor just to give him instructions. He'd lock himself into his room. Then two heads of departments, the dean and the head of school, had a meeting with me to coerce me to resign from my job and join a seminary instead. And the first thing they did was to criticize and ridicule the Bible. And then when I wouldn't, they said, oh, well, just be prepared to take a lot of flack from now on.
And so you experienced flack of various kinds for 28 years?
For 28 years, although in the latter years things became better because my chief antagonist, the dean and head of department, passed away. And the new heads of departments in the Victorian Department of Agriculture was very kind, because they were indifferent to creation, and we agreed to disagree on matters of faith. So they supported me.
More about what you went through.
Well, thanks for asking that, because I do have a website, www.creation6000.com, where I've explained all of this in greater detail.